A global storm erupted when US President Donald Trump imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court, calling its investigation into Israeli officials illegitimate. This move triggered widespread condemnation, with 79 countries decrying it for undermining international justice and threatening the court's independence. As a cornerstone of the global accountability, the ICC now faced unprecedented pressure. The sanctions raised urgent calls to reassess US foreign policy on international justice. The pressing question became, could these sanctions dismantle the ICC's ability to pursue global justice, or would it find a way to withstand this challenge? Welcome to Depth.
Because the fact is, make America great again.
Have Joe Biden.
Take it back.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa strongly condemned US President Donald Trump's decision to impose economic sanctions on the International Criminal Court. According to Politico, in their first direct criticism of the new US administration, they argued that Trump's move undermined global justice. Von der Leyen emphasized that the ICC plays a crucial role in holding perpetrators of international crimes accountable, and Europe will always defend justice and international law. Costa echoed this sentiment, stressing that Trump's action weakened the entire international criminal justice system. Both leaders reaffirmed the EU's unwavering support for the ICC and discussed ways to bolster this commitment in response to Trump's sanctions. Donald Trump's attack on the International Court is no surprise. His previous administration imposed sanctions over the ICC's investigation into potential war crimes, including those by the US and Israel. The Guardian stated that his latest executive order escalates this assault, threatening the court's core function. While the US has always avoided ICC membership, Trump's disdain for the court reflects a broader might is right doctrine, where diplomacy is replaced by coercion. His action, including reckless proposals for territorial expansion, embody this approach. As the ICC faces these threats, countries like the UK must stand firm in their support, defending the court and its crucial role in upholding international justice.
In a dramatic turn of events, the International Criminal Court finds itself at the center of a global storm. Recently, US President Donald Trump imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court, citing its investigations into war crimes involving Israeli officials as illegitimate and baseless actions targeting US and its allies. This move has sparked widespread condemnation worldwide. 79 countries, representing about two-thirds of ICC member states, have rallied behind the court. In a joint statement led by nations like Slovenia and France, they expressed unwavering support for the ICC's mission to uphold international justice. The coalition warned that Trump's sanctions increase the risk of impunity for grave offenses and threaten global stability by undermining international law. The Netherlands, home to the ICC, also expressed disappointment over Trump's move. Amnesty International condemned Trump's executive order as reckless, suggesting that it sends a message that certain nations are above international law. Liz Evanson from Human Rights Watch emphasized that Trump's executive order puts the United States on the side of war criminals at the expense of victims seeking justice. Despite mounting pressure, ICC President Judge Tomoko Akane reaffirmed her institution's commitment to delivering justice. The court remains committed to delivering hope to millions of victims globally. As tensions escalate between major powers over international justice mechanisms like the ICC, one thing is clear. This battle will shape not only just legal frameworks, but also global perceptions of accountability for serious crimes.
Well, for more analysis, we're joined by Mr. Ahmed Maharim, a political researcher and writer from Washington. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Maharim, and welcome to Qnews. Let me here start by asking you, what really prompted, from your point of view, Trump to impose sanctions on the ICC?
Well, actually, it's very strange kind of executive order from President Trump, because this is not a local issue concern America. It is an international issue concerning the whole world. And if we came back to the history, this international criminal court was established, I think, after the First World War in order not to have in the future any kind of what happened in Europe as Holocaust. What Israel have done for years and recently for the last 15 months in Gaza, it is actually more than Holocaust. And when the international court, International Criminal Court, have ordered or have issued a very important order that Benjamin Netanyahu and his former, military kind of Minister of War, Ministry of Defense for Israel, both of them are already committed to a crime, international crime war, and that's why what the court has issued is something to present to the world. There is justice has to be achieved sometime, somehow, somewhere. Benjamin Netanyahu, when he visited Washington, D.C. for 5 days visit, a couple of things, I think it was like a gift from Trump to him. Last but not least, Thursday, the day before yesterday, when Trump has given him this another kind of gift. It's exactly, if we look to the European countries, Germany, France, the command about what happened is not accepted by all means. And that will never stop the international crime war to do what it's supposed to do, to guarantee successfully that justice can be achieved around the world.
Mr. Maharim, what's your take on the reaction of other countries to these sanctions, and how will they reflect on such a decision or a statement by the U.S. president?
Actually, the reflection is apart from, if we look back to the last 2 weeks, there is so many executive orders. Some of them are commercial economy, some of them are politically, especially with the neighbor countries, Canada, Mexico, China. Most of them are, hanging for another 1 month or postponed for another 1 month for more negotiation. That means
actually, Mr. Maharim, I was speaking about their reaction towards the ICC court's decision of Mr. Trump, the European reaction and the world reaction towards such a decision.
I think it will never be taken as serious as it's supposed to be, knowing that we or the European countries are well known about such an order from Trump's, but it will never affect any of the employees or the staff of the court. Even some of the American citizens or American companies are restricted to be in deal with the court, or for the court to receive any more contribution from other resources. I think somehow it is just a matter of giving a complimentary for someone who doesn't have the capability to give it to Benjamin Netanyahu as a gift. I don't think the reaction shown in the declaration came from Germany, from France. I think some other European countries, they not agree with that, and they have their statements to
the
show that they are
European
not
Union at large, the European Commission and Council, all those showed so far their condemnation to such a move. Yes.
I think in the long term, it will never receive any kind of respect or any kind of a better reaction or good positive reaction. It will be just something showing that we are, as an American, President of America and Benjamin Netanyahu are not agree with that. That's why Israel was so happy, and they were thanking Mr. President Trump for saying such a statement.
Mm-hmm. From your point of view, will these sanctions reflect on the US-European relations significantly, or what do you think?
More or less, it has to have in the near future some kind of negative impact, because in all these orders, I mean, European, they consider America, and America consider European as very important allies. This kind of expected sanctions, it will never go through that easy, and it will show how much American administration are giving platform or trying to cover all the criminal it was taken by Israeli leader Netanyahu and his former defense minister. I think it will have some kind of effect, badly, negatively, for both countries.
Right, I guess we're also joined now by Mr. Majid Bouden, an international law professor from Paris. We thank you so much for joining us, and let me here ask you, how do these sanctions affect the ICC investigations into Israeli officials?
I mean, these sanctions are very efficient, because we have seen when the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, traveled to the US, he changed the routing of his own plane. So he had to fly in a different way, and this is not a small thing. He has taken into account that this arrest warrant could be made or could be enforced even if he's in the sky. So because when he travels through over a territory, that state can oblige him to land, and then he could be arrested and sent to The Hague. So serious. It's a serious matter.
Please continue.
And now we have a retaliation. The decision of President Trump against the International Criminal Court is not acceptable under international law. And why? Because it impairs and it constitutes threat against a judicial body, an international judicial body, which is not acceptable. It's not allowed by international law and could be sanctioned. How it could be sanctioned? Mm-hmm. First of all, any country in the world or any party which is interested by letting the International Criminal Court do its own job could go to the American justice, to go to an American judge, mm-hmm. and ask this judge to suspend.
In terms of the international law, how can other countries legally counteract the US sanctions on the ICC personnel?
Well, we have several ways. Under international law, there is a rule which says that any party who has a claim must be heard and must find a way to be heard. And the international community must give him a possibility to be heard. This is the minimum standard of justice. And the International Criminal Court was set up to avoid and to fight against impunity. And any act against the International Criminal Court must be redressed. And one of the ways is to go to the American judiciary. American courts are independent. And we have seen when President Trump has issued an executive order against the law of the land and the birth. When somebody is born in the U.S., he could apply for U.S. citizenship. And President Trump wanted to ban this or to suspend this, which is a constitutional provision. It's Article 14 of the Constitution. So a lot of organisms, a lot of states, and they went before a federal judge, and they have obtained a decision to suspend this the Trump executive order on this point. So we can go to the same U.S. judges and show that this is a threat against the rights of countries, of people, of populations, that they need protection. And so the American judge had the capability, they have the power, the possibility, the authority to suspend such a decision. We have to try that. And this is
so we're speaking about legal matters, or legal way,
of course,
right?
The other possibility is a country can go to the International Court of Justice here. We are not talking to the International Criminal Court. We are talking about the International Court of Justice. And we can say that this decision is not allowing, or it's impeaching a country, a population to be to make prosecution against criminals and to obtain a lift of the impunity. And the International Court of Justice has the power and the authority to take a decision here against the U.S. represented by Donald Trump.
Yes,
So
but it has to have also the approval of the UN Security Council or a majority of the UN General Assembly at large.
No, I'm sorry. No, we don't need that to go to launch an action.
No, but for it, for jurisdiction or the verdict of this court to be applied and oblige the implementation, there should be a backing from the UN Security Council or a majority of the General Assembly, right?
Sorry, no, because a decision of the International Court of Justice is enforceable without any approval from anybody, from not another body. The General Assembly is the parliament of the UN. The ICC, the International Court of Justice, is the judiciary of the UN. The General Council is the executive of the UN, and there is a separation. Let me
go here to Mr. Maharim, and from your point of view, what exactly is or does sovereignty play in Trump's justification for imposing such sanctions?
Well, I think as my colleague said, the Security Council is the only place where they have to approve that, and we are afraid always from the veto from America. But what make President Trump to go exactly for such an executive order is he would like to show how much Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu are very important to him and to the future of the peace in the Middle East, which I think with the matter of time, it will show that this will come against America as well, because it is going to be against the international law, the United Nations, and don't forget that United Nations as base in New York, since 70 years. Now there is some other European countries are offering the United Nations place if they can come to have their premises over there, and they can support the staff and accommodation and all the expenses. So by all means, if President Trump will go in such a way, 4 years ago, he was described United Nations as a club, and the club has friends to come and have coffee. So it was really something unaccepted, and it seems like this is his personal view to the United Nations and to the international kind of law.
Professor Majid, how might this decision influence future international justice efforts globally, and would it put this kind of the power of plight over law?
Well, any threat, any pressure, any duress against the International Court of Justice, or again the International Criminal Court, is a threat on the world security and on the peace on the world. And this is against the UN Charter, and it's against what the international community has built up now since after this Second World War. And so this is a very huge threat. But we have seen during the Trump first term, Trump has issued this similar decree or similar decision, but the International Criminal Court continued. This, despite the pressure, despite the fact that he has forbidden to the prosecutor to travel to the U.S., threat on the judges, etc., they continued their job and they continued their duties, and they have issued several warrant arrests. They have issued a lot of decisions, and so they did not obey to the threats, and they did not accept that. Now they have confirmed that they will not do it, they will not obey to that, and they will not bow in front of the threats. But it will make them stronger. And another question here to be really made clear. When a decision is made, a judgment is made by the International Court of Justice, it does not need an approval from the Security Council. It cannot be subject to the veto of any of the permanent members of the Security Council. Why? Because on legal terms, the Security Council members, permanent members, have the right to use the veto on resolutions, but only on resolutions. They cannot use, there is a confusion. People think that the Security Council members, permanent members, can use veto anytime, etc. It's not an absolute power. It's only a power when there is a resolution. And the resolution means that there is a political decision on an. Here, there is no resolutions. Here, countries must bring the decision, the judgment from the International Court of Justice to the Security Council and ask them to enforce them.
The problem here is the implementation of a verdict. Let me go here to Mr. Muharrem and
please, on this point, in the implementation is not subject to veto, to a veto decision. The implementation is to implement a decision, and the veto doesn't mean that they can overturn a decision of the International Court of Justice. This is not possible.
Right. Let me here turn to Mr. Muharrem. And do critics see this as part of a broader trend in U.S. Foreign policy under Trump? Are we speaking here about a broader U.S. policy of exercising leverage over some parties?
Well, I think that is, can give us a chance to say the American foreign policy are a different era, which used to be a very well-known country defending democracy, assisting different countries, helping the people in the poverty area. This was the big slogan, as everybody can understand. That's America policy around the world. Last few years, the first time of Mr. Trump and second time in power in the White House, his personal opinion and how he looks to the matter in a commercial way, in a personal way, that absolutely it will affect his relation with so many allies in the Europe, in the Gulf area. Unfortunately, somehow we hope that some people from his new cabinet will advise him to do something different. Otherwise, the American big picture in the world will be completely different.
Very clear here, Mr. Maharim. Unfortunately, my time is out and I have to end it here. That was Mr. Ahmed Maharim, a political researcher and writer, and Mr. Majid Buda, an international law professor. Many thanks for your insights. And the ICC stands as a crossroads, its future hanging in the balance, leaving the world to wonder if justice will prevail or succumb to political pressure. That brings us to the end of today's episode of In Depth. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates on Qnews.